Sarah sat up in bed, her breath caught in her throat. The dream still clung to her skin like mist. Lightning flashed through the curtains, followed by a low, rolling thunder. Her heart pounded as if trying to catch up with something she had left behind in sleep. Grabbing the leather-bound journal from her nightstand, she flipped it open and scribbled quickly.
12th and Bellevue. A boy by a broken fence. He was crying. Something was coming, something dark. I couldn't see its face, but I felt it watching.
She paused, letting the pen hover. There was always more beneath the surface of these dreams, more than what could be put into words. Her phone buzzed. A single message from Josh.
Did you have one too?
It was immediate.
Yes. We have to go.
By morning, the storm had passed, but the urgency had not. The two siblings met at a diner just off the highway. Coffee steamed between them. Josh leaned back, his dark eyes studying his sister.
You saw the street?
Bellevue? You saw it too, right?
Sarah asked. He nodded slowly.
The church, the boy, and something else. Something that didn't want us there.
It's not the first time, but this felt different, urgent.
Josh's hand went instinctively to the small wooden cross that hung beneath his hoodie. Sarah laughed.
You always do that.
Josh looked down at his hand clutching the wooden cross and then back at Sarah.
Do what?
Sarah stared back with a half-smiling but incredulous expression.
You always grab at that cross around your neck when you're anxious. It's not a good luck charm, you know?
Josh sat upright in his seat and looked at Sarah.
Sis, you know what this cross means to me. It's very special to me.
Because Mom gave it to you before she died.
Sarah chimed in.
Yes, that, and because it reminds me of her, and her faith in the Lord and His power, and how she always made sure that everything we do with the Lord in mind. It reminds me that this is not about us, but about God's plan and why we do this, and it reminds me of God's love for us and hers too.
Sarah looked noddingly at Josh while a big smile came over her face.
I know, bro. I miss her too.
Josh cleared his throat and started putting his coat on.
When do we leave?
We're already late.
The old SUV hummed along the highway, tires thumping steadily over seams in the road. The sun was dropping low behind them, casting a warm orange glow across the empty fields. Sarah leaned her head against the passenger window, watching barns blur past. Josh drove in silence, one hand on the wheel, the other gripping a thermos of lukewarm coffee. A soft instrumental worship song played low on the radio, one of the only things they agreed on so far. Sarah finally broke the silence.
Do you ever think about Mom?
Josh glanced at her, surprised by the question.
Every day.
She nodded, still staring at the horizon.
You didn't go to the funeral.
Josh was quiet. The air in the SUV grew heavier with unspoken years.
I thought you didn't want me there. I figured you were all still angry I left.
I was angry, but not because you left. Because you never said goodbye. One day you were my big brother, protecting me from everything, and the next, you were gone.
Josh swallowed hard, his hands tightening on the steering wheel.
I didn't think I deserved to be your brother anymore.
What?
I was falling apart, Sar, drinking too much, hooking up with whoever. I couldn't even look in the mirror. The only thing I was good at back then was running.
But you were always the one who believed in God, even when I didn't.
Josh gave a sad laugh.
No, I believed in church, in rules, but I didn't know Jesus. Not really. Not until he found me in that alley.
She turned toward him fully now, studying his face.
You know, it's wild.
What?
I had that dream that same week, the one with the fire and the voice. He was calling me, too.
Josh shook his head in wonder.
He was working on us both. Across cities, across years. He was always moving, even when we weren't.
They rode in silence for a while, but it was a new kind of silence. Softer, shared. Then Sarah asked,
Why do you think he's sending us together?
Josh gave a small, knowing smile.
Baby, because he knows we're stronger now. Not in ourselves, but because we finally know who we belong to.
Sarah reached over and put her hand on his. They drove the rest of the way as the last light faded, the city skyline rising like a shadow on the horizon. Detroit welcomed them with rusted fences, empty streets, and a silence that pressed against their chests. The air smelled of damp wood and crumbling memories. They turned off the main road just past an old grocery store with broken windows and a faded mural of smiling children. The GPS rerouted twice before leading them to a cracked, narrow street that looked more like an alley than a neighborhood. Josh slowed the SUV. The houses lining both sides were mostly abandoned. Windows boarded, doors hanging loose, yards overgrown with dead weeds and rusted bikes. The few homes that still had lights on looked dim, like even electricity didn't want to stay here. It was exactly as they had seen it in the dream, half forgotten and lined with skeletal trees. The church at the end of the street stood like a sentry, its windows boarded up, its steeple cracked. Sarah rubbed her arms.
It's colder than it should be.
I noticed that too.
But it wasn't just the temperature. There was a heaviness in the air, a pressing kind of dread that made your chest feel tight and your stomach uneasy. Something was wrong here. Not just crime or poverty, but something deeper, something older. Josh pulled the SUV over in front of a gray house with a missing porch railing. "This is it," he said quietly.
This is where?
Josh didn't answer at first. He stared out the windshield, jaw tight.
This is the house from my dream.
This is a lot worse than even in my dream.
I didn't know. The dream just showed the house, the kid, and something watching from the window.
They sat in silence again, each gripped by a rising tide of unease. Sarah shifted in her seat.
Oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Josh looked at her, and for the first time in days, the brave front cracked. His voice came out low, honest.
Neither am I.
Good. That makes two of us.
They laughed a little, but it was tight, nervous laughter. Sarah got out of the SUV, boots crunching on broken glass. The second she stepped onto the sidewalk, the sense of oppression deepened. A low buzzing began in her ears, like static from a dead radio channel. Josh joined her and instinctively stepped closer.
Yeah, it's like the air is listening.
They looked up. A curtain on the side of the house moved just slightly, but no one was there. Sarah felt something coil in her stomach. Not fear exactly, something colder. Shame, accusation, a whisper in her mind.
You're not worthy. You don't belong here. You're weak. This was a mistake.
She blinked hard.
Josh, I'm hearing something.
He nodded grimly.
Me too. Mine said I should leave before I make things worse.
They turned toward each other at the same time.
It's not just the neighborhood, it's in the air, it's something spiritual.
The street appeared much the same, but not. The air rippled with movement, like heat waves over pavement. The sky was darker in hue, casting sickly shadows over the ground. The houses groaned, not physically, but spiritually, as if weighed down by unseen rot. And there, standing directly between Josh, Sarah, and the house, they couldn't see him, but they felt him, was a figure cloaked in writhing shadows. The demon was tall, easily 7 feet, its form constantly shifting. Smoke one moment, solid the next. Its face was hidden behind a mask of jagged bone, and its voice dripped like oil into open wounds. It leaned forward, close to Sarah.
You're too late. She's already ours. You've come for nothing.
To Josh, its voice grew darker.
How many people have you let down before this? How many prayers unanswered? You think your presence matters here? You think your faith is enough?
Every word was laced with venom. Not just lies, but precise strikes aimed at their deepest insecurities. Around the demon, smaller spirits fluttered like moths winged whispering, crawling over one another to observe. Their eyes glowed, faint red, always watching, always mocking.
He doesn't need rescuing.
The demon hissed, its mouth curling into a twisted grin.
She invited us in. She begged for it. She belongs to the darkness now.
Josh flinched slightly, hand brushing the edge of the Bible tucked in his jacket. Sarah clenched her fists, fighting the sudden weight in her chest. The demon took one step back, aware of its limits. It could stand between them and the house, but it could not bar the way.
They sent you? Of course they did. But you don't have the strength yet. You'll see. One misstep, one moment of doubt, and we'll have you too.
And then, silence. The air grew still. The pressure remained, but the demon stood its ground, not attacking, not fleeing, waiting, testing. Sarah drew in a shaky breath.
I don't think we're welcome here.
No, but we're supposed to be here, and we know we're in the right place.
He reached for her hand, and they stepped forward, toward the house and the fight waiting inside. He took out the small Bible from his coat pocket, the one that had belonged to their mom. He handed it to Sarah, who held it like a shield.
This is our weapon. Not our strength, not our wisdom, just His Word. That's all we need.
Sarah drew a deep breath.
And that's all we need.
As they walked towards the house, the demon grudgingly yielded. Then, a crash. They ran toward the sound. It was by the church. As they got closer, they found a boy, thin, wild-eyed, no older than 10, standing beside a splintered shed.
Hi there, are you okay?
Please, my sister. You have to help her.
He turned and bolted around the back of the church. Sarah and Josh exchanged a look and followed. The boys circled the church and bolted back to the house that was in their dreams.
Wait.
Josh cried. Sarah was already ahead of him, running after the boy, running towards that dreadful house. They stepped forward toward the porch, toward whatever waited inside. The flock of demons curiously gathered around them, and behind a curtain on the second floor of the house, 2 eyes watched them. Dark, sunken, not quite human. Josh stepped up first and knocked on the door. They heard a stirring inside, but no one answered. Josh knocked again. The door creaked open on its own, revealing a narrow hallway dimly lit by a flickering overhead bulb. The smell hit them first, stale air, mold, something faintly metallic. Then a figure appeared from the shadows. A woman, thin, pale, her eyes sunken with exhaustion, stepped forward slowly, cautiously. Her face was streaked with dried tears. She held a hand to her chest, as if to calm a racing heart. She scanned the 2 strangers on her porch. Young adults, clean but road-worn, with a strange calm about them. Josh raised his hands gently.
Ma'am, we're not here to hurt you.
The woman blinked and looked past them, her voice shaky.
Where's Micah? Where's my son?
He's okay. He told us his sister needed help. We followed him here.
The woman gave a tired nod and opened the door wider.
Please, come in.
They stepped inside. The air was thick and heavy, like a storm was brewing inside the walls. The house was colder than it should have been, and though it was mostly tidy, there was a strange sense that the place had stopped breathing, like time had been halted. Every picture frame was slightly crooked. The hallway mirror had a blanket draped over it. Something about that unsettled Sarah.
You're not from this neighborhood.
We're not. We're traveling. Honestly, we were led here. We both had this strong sense we were supposed to come to this area. Sounds odd, I know.
We're not here to cause trouble, I promise. We've just learned to trust these impressions, and when we saw your son, it felt like we were meant to help.
Impressions?
Call it instinct or faith. We're Christians. We try to stay open to when God nudges us in a direction. That's really all it is.
The woman looked between them.
So you're like missionaries?
Not officially, just people trying to follow where we're sent, and this time it brought us here.
The woman studied them a little longer, then exhaled slowly. Her guard dropped just enough.
Well, you're not the strangest thing to show up on this street lately.
She led them into the living room.
My name is Ruth. Micah is my youngest. Naomi is my daughter.
Is she all right? Naomi? Micah seemed very concerned about her.
Well, she just hasn't been herself lately. It's a little hard to explain.
Ruth responded with a worried look on her face. Josh and Sarah sat down on the edge of a stiff sofa, watching Ruth as she paced a little, wringing her hands.
Micah sounded like he thought Naomi's been sick.
Well, not really sick, I suppose. It started a few weeks ago. just after her birthday.
Sarah leaned in.
What happened?
Ruth hesitated, her voice lowered.
She'd been asking for one of those spirit boards, a Ouija board. I always said no, but she kept pushing, begging. She's always been into horror movies and creepy stuff, always had a wild imagination. And I thought, what's the harm? It's just a toy, right?
Josh and Sarah exchanged a glance, their expressions tightening.
So I gave in. Worst decision I've ever made.
She looked toward the staircase at the back of the house.
The night after she got the board, she started acting distant. At first I thought it was just teenage moods, but then we started hearing things. Scratching in the walls, whispers at night. I'd wake up and find her in the hallway, eyes wide open, whispering to someone who wasn't there.
Sarah's voice was gentle but firm.
Do you think the board has something to do with the change in her?
I don't know. I went to the store and bought one of those glow-in-the-dark boards at her request, but the one she has now isn't that one. I've never seen it before. It looks old. Hand-carved letters. The planchette is made of bone or wood. I can't even tell.
Has she said anything to you about what she's doing with it?
Ruth shook her head.
She won't talk much, barely eats, just stays in her room with that board, and when I try to go in, she gets angry. Not scared. Angry, like I've invaded something sacred.
And the dreams?
Sarah asked. Ruth's voice dropped to a whisper.
They started about a week ago. Same one, every night. Naomi standing in a dark field surrounded by shadows, and something speaking through her. But I don't know what it is, just that it's not her voice.
Josh leaned forward.
Has anything like this happened before, in your family?
Ruth was silent for a long moment. Then she gave a dry laugh, one without joy.
My grandma used to say strange things. My mother would always hush her, call her senile. But I remember it. She used to say she was marked, said our bloodline had a gift and a curse. She called herself a witch when she thought no one was listening. She told me things about shadows, about doors and gates that could open if you called the right names.
Did you ever believe her?
Ruth shook her head.
No, we all laughed it off. Halloween stories, that kind of thing, never really gave it a thought. But now...
He trailed off, staring again at the stairs.
Now I'm not sure what I believe.
Josh stood up slowly.
Can we see Naomi?
Ruth hesitated.
I don't know, she might not want to see you. She doesn't really respond to anyone anymore, especially strangers.
Sarah gave a calm, steady nod.
We just want to talk. And pray if she'll let us.
Ruth shrugged her shoulders.
I suppose it can't do any harm, but we're not really very religious people. I never saw the value in it. We were always brought up to be pragmatists. But I suppose you can try, if you'd like.
Ruth led them toward the staircase. As they climbed, the hallway grew colder. At the top, the air felt dense, as if something unseen was watching. The hallway grew quieter as they approached the final door. They stopped outside. The sound of soft whispers were coming from inside. Ruth hesitated, then tapped lightly.
Naomi? Sweetheart, you have visitors.
There was a long pause, then came the faint sound of movement, a creak of bed springs, a slow shuffling of feet.
What do you want?
Said a girl's voice, low and composed, yet oddly hollow for a 17-year-old. Ruth looked back at Josh and Sarah and then answered her.
There are some people here who would like to talk to you.
Another long pause followed.
Come in.
Said Naomi in an unusually calm voice. Ruth stepped back, motioning to Josh and Sarah.
I'll wait downstairs. She listens more when I'm not around.
Josh nodded, then opened the door slowly. The room was dim, the windows covered in thick blackout curtains. A single red lava lamp pulsed softly on a desk covered in notebooks, sketchpads, and candles melted down to the base. The air smelled like burnt wax and something slightly metallic, like old blood. Naomi sat on her bed, cross-legged. Her long, dark hair hung loosely around her face. She was pale, with faint purple shadows beneath her eyes, but she looked more alert than Ruth had described. She watched them silently as they stepped in.
Hi, Naomi. We're friends. Your brother asked us to come.
Naomi tilted her head, eyes scanning them.
You're not from around here. You're different.
Josh offered a calm smile.
We're just here to talk. We're not here to hurt you.
Naomi blinked, then looked over their shoulders toward the hallway.
Is my mom listening?
No, she's downstairs.
Naomi nodded, slowly.
She always overreacts. She thinks I'm losing my mind.
She's scared for you.
She doesn't get it. I'm not scared. They're scared.
Josh frowned.
Who's they?
Naomi just smiled faintly and looked away. Meanwhile, as Josh and Sarah were talking to Naomi, unseen by them, shadows pulsed like slow heartbeats. 4 demons lingered in the corners of the room, small, rat-like creatures with elongated fingers and twitching wings. They skittered across the walls and ceiling, occasionally snarling at each other. But one stayed still, stood in the corner by Naomi's dresser. Tall, humanoid, but wrong in its proportions. Its skin was ashen, with cracks that glowed faintly like burning coal. Its eyes were hollow voids, but awareness burned inside them.
They've come.
One of the smaller demons hissed.
What do we do now?
He said in an anxious voice. The tall demon didn't move. Its voice sounded like bone scraping stone.
I know who they are. He sent them. They've been covered. We can't touch them. At least not right now.
Another demon whispered.
We should strike, bind them now.
Did you hear what I just said? They are not like the others. We are not strong enough. We must request help from our principality.
It turned its head slowly toward Naomi, who appeared to glance in its direction.
They are strong, but we've waited too long to get access to this gate, and the prince of this region will not let this go so easily.
Josh was watching Naomi closely. Something about her eyes. They flicked to empty corners of the room, as if seeing things that weren't there. He spotted the Ouija board on the desk. Its planchette seemed to move slightly on its own. Sarah noticed something else. Naomi's fingernails, each one painted black, had tiny symbols scratched into them. Not drawn. Carved. Naomi leaned back, arms crossed.
You think I'm possessed or something, right?
Josh didn't answer right away.
We think something is bothering you, something deeper.
She scoffed.
I've never felt clearer. Stronger, even. Like I see things for what they really are now. My mom, she just wants me to be normal. But I'm not. I never was.
Sarah took a cautious step forward.
When did the dreams start?
Naomi shrugged.
The same night I got the board, it just showed up. Not the one she bought me, that one was cheap. But this one feels real, ancient, like it remembers me.
Josh's heart sank.
And what do you talk about with it?
Naomi's smile was small and strange.
Not talking, listening. They don't speak with words. They show me things, places, power.
As Naomi was talking, the tall demon's cracked mouth curled into something like a grin. It turned toward the wall, toward a shadowed window, and whispered something in a language not meant for human ears.
Go tell the chief captain. We will need help to deal with these 2.
Sarah's voice was calm but firm.
They're not your friends, Naomi.
Naomi's eyes narrowed.
Funny. That's what they said about you.
The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Josh took a small step forward, his voice calm but probing.
Naomi, when they show you things, how do you feel afterward? Honestly.
Strong, powerful, like I know things no one else knows.
But also heavy, maybe angry, tired in ways you can't explain.
Naomi looked away. That struck a nerve.
Who are you and why did you come here? You just barged in like you know everything. We don't want you here.
We don't know everything, but we know enough to be concerned. Something followed that board into this house. It's not just a toy. You feel it, don't you?
No. I feel alive. For once. Maybe if you 2 had something better to do than spy on children and act like cops?
We're not here to control you. We're here because we care. Because something else is pretending to.
Naomi's expression twisted. Her fingers clenched tightly around the hem of her shirt, her nails digging into her skin.
You don't care. You don't know me. You don't see me. You're just scared of anything that isn't wrapped in your precious Bible verses.
Josh and Sarah exchanged a glance. They could both feel it, something pressing behind Naomi's eyes, something not hers, feeding her anger, twisting her words.
You're not alone in here, are you?
That did it for Naomi.
Get out. You think you can just come in here and fix me like I'm broken? Get out.
Startled, Sarah stepped back. Josh reached to calm her, but Naomi stormed toward the door and flung it open, her voice a shriek echoing down the stairs.
Mom, these freaks are trying to mess with my head.
Naomi?
Footsteps pounded up the stairs. Ruth appeared in the hallway, eyes wide with confusion.
Naomi, what's going on?
Why did you even let them in? You always act like you care, but you don't. You never listen.
Naomi, that's enough.
Naomi's breathing was ragged. Her hands trembled as if struggling to contain something inside her. Her face contorted with something beyond teenage rage. It was venomous. Sarah was praying under her breath, praying for Naomi. Josh gently touched Ruth's arm and guided her a few steps down the hall.
She's not herself, not completely.
She said something about listening to the board, about power, and that it felt ancient, not like the one you bought.
Ruth's face paled.
Ancient?
She said it showed up the same night she got your gift, but it wasn't the same one. She called it real.
Ruth was quiet for a long moment.
There's something I didn't tell you. I thought it was just old family nonsense. My grandmother, Naomi's great-grandmother, used to tell people she was a witch. The family always joked about it. But she was different. Into old books, rituals, spoke strange words under her breath sometimes. My mom said she'd wake up screaming some nights, saying they came through again.
Josh and Sarah both stiffened.
Do you think they could be the same entities Naomi is talking to?
I think whatever tormented my grandmother might have just found a new way in.
She closed her eyes.
And I let it in. I thought it was just a silly gift she wanted.
A long silence followed. Naomi's door slammed shut behind them.
This may go deeper than just Naomi. Whatever this is, it may be attached to your bloodline, and even the house.
Might not be the house. It may be a gate or a well of something old.
We need to find out if anything like this has happened here before. Anyone else affected?
Ruth nodded slowly, still shaken.
Do what you need to do.
Josh and Sarah turned to leave, the weight of the house thick behind them. As they stepped back into the hallway, Sarah paused.
Ruth, how long has your family lived in this house?
My great-grandfather bought this house for my great-grandmother. Our family has lived here ever since. It was much nicer here as I remember it as a little girl.
Okay, we're not giving up on her. We'll be back.
Thank you.
Josh opened the front door. A gust of cold air greeted them as they stepped outside. The shadows hadn't moved, and from the upper window, Naomi watched them go. Her lips moved, barely audible, but not her own words. They're not done. But neither are we.